Have you ever read a news article, social media post, or even an essay and questioned its legitimacy and wondered who is trying to communicate with you? Have you ever looked at a photo or video and everything appears normal, but something just isn't quite right with it? Well, you may or may not be witnessing the product of what is known as AI, or artificial intelligence. As AI becomes more prominent into our society and our culture, so does its harms. Every day we see AI generated images, videos, and even articles, which may or may not hold accuracy. Because of this, artificial intelligence, known as AI, has become harmful to our society. Today, I will be discussing the three main stock issues of definition, which I will be discussing some important terms for this argument. Then I'll move on to my threshold, which I'll be discussing my limitations and basically going over what I will be talking about in this argument. And then I'll move along to my application, where I will discuss how this topic affects us as a society. My credibility for this argument is my long preparation on this topic and my sufficient research. I will provide reliable citations and include sufficient resources. Moving on to the first stock issue of definition. The first key term to know is artificial intelligence, or AI, which is the capacity of computers or machines to exhibit or simulate intelligent behavior, or the field of study concerned with this. Another important definition to understand is society, which is the aggregate of persons living together in a community, especially one having shared customs, laws, and institutions. Both of these definitions are provided by the Oxford English Dictionary. These are not my own. The last important term to understand is fake news, which are false stories that appear to be news, which are spread on the internet or using other media, created to influence political views or as a joke, which is from the Cambridge Dictionary. Now that I have discussed my credibility and some important definitions, let me move on to my next stock issue of threshold. This argument will not be covering the history or development of AI, but rather its impact and potential harms of society. This argument will not cover the development of AI as a database. Basically, I will not be discussing how its technology creates breaches in privacy for us as citizens. This argument will discuss how AI has a negative impact on crime and makes crimes like identity theft, fraud, and impersonation more easy to commit. This argument will also discuss how AI makes impersonation easier and promotes the spread and creation of fake news. This argument will also discuss AI's harm to education and how it makes cheating and shortcuts in work more accessible. Now that I have talked about my threshold for this argument, let me move on to my final stock issue of application. My first talking point for application is that AI creates a negative impact on crime and makes crimes like fraud, identity theft, and impersonation easier to commit. For example, a person pretending to using AI to pretend to be someone over the phone by voice impersonation, or using intelligence to pretend to be someone through text or video call, like FaceTime. In an article posted by Podlets, We Have to Talk About Emotional AI and Crime in 2023, they discuss that because there's little knowledge on AI, it makes these crimes difficult for law enforcement to monitor and detect this weapon. And this can also put certain restrictions and limitations that makes it harder for us as citizens to have access to certain technologies. My second talking point is that AI actually aids in the creation of fake news with artificially generated images, and thus aids in the spread of this. An article posted by Iqbal with the relationship of artificial intelligence and with fake news detection. A systematic literature review posted in 2023 reviews how the creation and the prominence of this fake news jeopardizes our democracy and diminishes the credibility of our society's news outlets. And it also goes into explain how identifying this fake news is very time consuming and requires a specific set of skill. And my last talking point for my application is that AI creates a harmful impact on the new generations of students with its advanced methods helping students cheat. For example, apps like Photomath, which is used for math, helps students solve equations and give answers immediately. ChatGPT, which can generate whole essays and answer questions in math. And they're used to scan and read questions and produce entire essays, which students can adjust and alter to seem like original work. In an article posted by Minster in 2023 called Addressing the Harms of AI-Generated Inauthentic Content, human intelligence to detect AI will soon not be enough. Soon these learning tools will be able to create technology to pass these detections. To conclude this argument, I have listed 3 clear reasons to why artificial intelligence has become a harm to our society and our lives. First, with AI causing damage and impact on crime rates, aiding in the creation and access to cybercrimes. Secondly, with artificial intelligence aiding in the creation and therefore spread of fake news. And lastly, AI is harming and impacting a new generation of students.